Well, we are on a smaller map here, Ohana being the map choice, so hopefully the TBT won't be too long. For the sake of Kevin, I don't want him falling apart on me. Bottom right corner, guys, it's going to be Startale's very own Sound as your Scion-colored Terran player. Far top left corner from Team Prime, putting the team on his back at the moment, currently 2-1. They want to get their first victory in the Premier Division. It's going to be Maru's very own, or it's Prime's very own, Maru.
All right, so yeah, TBT, you mentioned it was a little bit smaller map, but this one can still devolve into very long, protracted siege tank battles. Reason being, well, a couple of them. You have little choke points there, which watch all pretty much the primary attack paths, so siege tanks here can watch pretty much all the way up into your fourth. The spaces in the middle of the map are very wide, yes, but usually you'll see situations where players will just spread out their tanks really, really long, and then it ends up taking forever. Now, of course, that is unless Maru decides to do some sort of a proxy Rex.
That is a strong possibility as we do the SV going across the middle of the map. It's looking like it. Normally you have one player do this in a TBT nowadays, especially in a best of 3 or best of 5 series. Rex going down. Do we have a gas follow-up? Quite yet. We're going to need one very soon here, but it's going to be Marauders.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's going to be a Marauder. Yeah, there we go. There it is. Marauder popping out to go to your opponent's natural. I've actually seen it. We saw it last week, actually, when I was casting with Kibbles. Strelok, I believe?
Yep.
Or Slavic, was it? Anywho, one of the players went for a 1-Rax expand, and we had a Marauder pressure into it, and he actually held it pretty darn nicely. Patience is very, very important when dealing with this.
Yep. And you usually want to go with your second Marauder or something like that. Depends on how aggressive he wants to actually get here. Now, Sound is actually going for a refinery himself afterwards, and going for that 15 refinery that we've been seeing more and more commonly lately out of Terran players. So, not going to be any sort of a super early expansion, and we'll see if that ends up benefiting him or hurting him here in a second.
Well, there we go, right away. There goes the Tech Lab popping up. Just really quickly, have you heard about the changes in Hardest Form with the Siege Tank?
No, not yet.
They actually do not require the upgrade anymore.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that one. I thought there was like a new one that came out today that I hadn't heard of. I was like, oh, God, this is news for me. Yes,
when I see this map, I think of that just as breaking the game. But anywho, Bunker now popping down on the natural, and actually got it in a bit of a weird location. You kind of want to have one on the high ground. It's really, really helpful because Marauders will actually run right past that. But it's so closely out of vision.
Please! Oh, you're killing me,
He's out of the main. He sees no command center. He's got to be getting fishy here. Where is the structures here for Maru? Sound just awaiting. He is going to get this bunker up, though, so that's quite nice. How many Marauders do we have here?
Yes, he found it. He found it. That's just one Marauder that's actually been constructed so far, and it's actually going to start trying to pick off a couple of Marines. Now, it had to run at kind of an awkward angle. He really wanted to be able to run back towards his barracks where the reinforcing units are coming through, but he's not going to have that luxury, and in fact, already has to back his way out of here with the units that he has on the map.
Perfect pinch here from Sound. Marauders, the advantage to them, we actually learned this last week, is they actually have more range on the Marines, of course, and with the concussive shells, you just constantly keep gunning back with that range. But pinching him against the wall allows them to get rid of that first Marauder, and that first Marauder is so darn important in terms of getting damage in and getting your opponent on the run. But Sound not letting that happening, and with a great opening here, is going to be feeling very strong over his opponent at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and that factory is now so delayed for Maru. He invested in quite a bit there. It looks like concussive shells, of course, did have enough time to finish up, so that's 100 resources, and it's good, at least going to allow him to kill this SEV, so I guess it paid a bit of that back, but certainly not the position that Maru wants to be in at all.
Going to follow up into a command center and a factory here. And it's important that you do follow up with, of course, your tactical factories and then maybe a couple of racks either way, but you got to make sure you don't follow up to any pushes that come your way. So you can't go for a fast third command center, which would be a great way to get yourself in a really quick economic lead to kind of get that advantage that you missed out in the beginning, but you can't do it in a TBT. It's really hard. So we do have, what is that being about? The starport? So it looks like we're going to be moving straight into, what is this, reactor? So not mothership. Medevacs right away.
The best of the Terran units, the mothership.
The double mothership build in TBT, so sick.
Oh, God. And we do actually have a third command center being constructed, actually just started now for Maru. So really wanting to try and find his way back into this game, basically at all costs, banking on the fact that his opponent's not going to put on significant pressure. And indeed, he's not right now. He has a few Marines starting to trudge across the map, a couple of Hellions. And those Hellions actually, 2 at a time, could pose a little bit of a problem at this stage of the game.
Oh, immediately Hellions are on their way. We're actually going straight into Viking. So it looks like he just wants to have Hellion Viking here and just play safe for a little bit. You can get aggressive with Marine Viking, but overall it's more of a defensive stature. The only way it's a little bit better is Viking Siege Tank. But again, I like Sound's build. It's very safe. It allows him to keep the advantage that he got from Maru. But
Yeah.
He needs to find out his opponent's getting a third, which that's why I would have enjoyed to have a medevac possibly come and do a bit of a drop into main, because then he would still have third, and then decide from there where he wants to go.
All right. Well, hey, that Marauder's going to pay dividends inside of the bunker at the very least, and enough to ward these units away. Kills a Hellion on the outside too, so Maru defends that pretty well. Let's see what else is popping up now for Sound, second factory. And that's pretty much it for the time being, just reinvesting back into his economy. But honestly, Maru's on the same number of workers. He's going to be on an additional command center now, and his infrastructure is not all that far behind his opponents. A little bit, yes, but not significantly so.
I want to see. It looks like we're going to be having some mech play possibly from Maru, moving straight into a Raven already.
Yeah.
I just want to see if he can throw down another factory. Once again, yeah, that is. So mech play on the way, and it looks like actually both players will be going for mech, which is fun because we have a lot of Hellion run bys. It's a long game. I'm sorry, Kevin, but mech play is really cool to see.
That's right. We're going to be here for a while. Well, that is, of course, you have one of those like miracle drops or something like that that ends up killing 35 SCVs, and then you just rage quit. But oh, that's happened way too often.
Oh my gosh.
I have bad memories of that from Ladder.
Them drops, man.
All right, so here we go. Sound is going to search over towards the third. Doesn't see anything. Of course, can't go through the destructible rocks quite yet. Has to get some siege tanks or a Thor up there to be able to work his way effectively through those. But he has prioritized his Blue Flame Hellions, which will be popping out nice and early. So every little bit of his tech, with the exception of the Raven, is significantly ahead of Maru's.
Yeah.
But Maru has caught up and exceeded his opponent in economy now, and that actually may be more important at this stage of the game. When you have a slower paced game like Mech is, you don't necessarily need that tech advantage right away. You need the economy to be able to back it up.
Yeah, good point there by Kevin. Moving to that third command center, the real nice route to go for is just to go ahead and move into Mech, because again, he played defensive, like you mentioned. So, nice play here from Maru, realizing he was behind and went for a route that would allow him to get a strong mid to late game. So, well done by him. Raven, of course, that already third and fourth gas beam popped up. Would like to take his third command center pretty soon, but you gotta wait till you have siege mode or a couple of siege tanks in the field, or you do get a nice Hellion run by, as you mentioned. Looking over to Sound, look in the bottom left corner of his third. Can we see, is he going for a command center? Okay, so finally getting his expansion down. Really, really late to Maru's, but again, tech just kind of prevails. So we'll see how engagements go. If there's an engagement pretty soon, Sound should win it pretty nicely,
Yes.
but Maru looks like he's okay with being huddled in.
Oh, well, he's got his way out with a couple of Hellions. Now he's coming up against Blue Flame. Sound immediately reverses all the damage that was done to him just a second ago by the Hellions from Maru. Maru actually in the last engagement was able to pick off a couple of units for free, get back and repair those up. But Sound's able to reverse that, so good little gain on his part. But you can see now the effect of an additional command center, the additional mules, the additional economy that's been coming in for Maru as his production is starting to surge ahead.
Well, Armory about to finish up for Sound as well, so he can start moving up in his upgrades, but Maru is going to be ahead in that regard. He does have +1 mechanical weapons already on the way. Siege mode has been queued up finally here from Maru. I'm okay with him actually cutting that out since he went for a Mass Hellion. That would allow him to be a little bit on the aggressive side in a different route. Third command center, about to finish up for Sound, and by about I mean a little under halfway done. And it looks like just a little bit of scurry here. Happening between both players. Both do have the Blue Flame Hellion, but Sound actually getting the better engagements at first, but Maru actually moved his Hellions up and got a better splash damage shot than his opponent. Weird little micro that happens there, but both players just, they did it miraculously. I'm actually pretty impressed.
Reminded me very much of Zergling Banelink there, trying to position your units around, making sure you're avoiding the most AoE while inflicting the best on your opponent. You don't usually see that in TVT. It's usually relegated just in that CBC matchup. So, looks like a Marine is already here picking up on this third command center. I'm sure Sound's none too happy to see that that's already finished up. Of course, he's got to suspect, at least at this point, that a super early third command center had come up because of the way that Maru had, stopped his economy so early on, hadn't really gotten anything done with that early. Don't forget the start with the Proxy Marauder.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to figure out what exactly Maru's going to be going into. He's actually moved straight into Thors already. How many siege tanks does he have on the field?
4.
Okay, so moving straight into Thors, he wants to actually be the engager here. Thors are really good at walking into siege tank lines, taking a lot of shots, and then you follow up into sieging up, and then get your Hellions on top of the siege tank and try and kill them off. But really hard. And also going for Thors is really nice because Sound's already got a nice Viking count as well. You want to get rid of that air superiority, and one route to do that is to kind of mix your Vikings with your Thors right away. We'll see what the plan is for Maru, but he is just churning out those Thors and keeping up with Hellion production.
And we see that Sound is making one medevac right now too, so we may see a little bit of side dropping action here when the next engagement does eventually happen. 5 factories in total for Sound. How many are up now? 4. Maru, looks like I'm counting 4. Don't see any additional at the moment, but he is utilizing all 4 very well. Actually, more are starting to come up now. I'm not sure where those are at. We'll find later.
Yeah, he's got a 5th of 3rd, but again, he's just keeping up with the unit tab. Can we check out the SUVs really quick? 57 and 67. Maru, man, he is just constantly keeping up that production, not missing a beat. And kind of a side effect of that as well is he stayed on 4 factories for a little bit, so he can just focus on staying with his orbitals compared to Sound here. Sound is finally catching up in his SUVs, starting to pop out 3 at a time, finally as he does land at that bottom 3rd. And has moved to his Ravens. For the most part, I feel like both players are a little even. Maru's got a bit of an advantage though with that 2 +2 about to finish up pretty soon in about the next, what is that, another 40 seconds? Compared to his, 90 seconds, I'm sorry, compared to his opponent here who has nearly 2 minutes to get set up.
Yeah, so he's a full 90 seconds ahead. It looks like he's going to try and engage us. All the tanks were actually already sieged up though. The Raven dropping down a couple of auto turrets right on the ground though, but it looks like Maru's just going to stomp his way through that. And look at the way, I've really got to hand it to Maru. Even if Sound finds a way to hold here, which it doesn't look like he's going to, Maru has rallied himself back magnificently in this game after that super early disadvantage.
So he used SUVs to go in first, they take the first siege tank stocks, and then he follows up with the Thors, they follow the second siege tank stock, and the rest of the Hellions and their siege tanks just kill off his opponent. What a great engagement there from Maru, and now he's moving into his opponent's third. He has Hellions being turned out 4 at a time, moving to that third as well. Maru looking pretty strong. Oh, and he sieges out here. That's going to force the lift off, and there we go. Sound trying to retreat. It's going to be really hard to break this.
Yeah, you can't move anywhere with those SUVs. This is all dead weight. Look at that one SUV getting in there, trying to do some damage too. That is so cute.
Man.
We'll keep a track of him because that is a hero SUV. Anyway, Sound is worried about, of course, the siege tank line that he's trying to establish for himself, but now Maru can easily move up to a 4th base. He's got total map dominance. He just slaughtered all those workers.
They tried. One almost got it. He's like, I got this. I see the finish line. Can we look at the workers kill count and then use them really quick before we pop out? 22 killed off here. And then overall it's 60 to 43. So Maru's content with just holding contain here. He should be moving into another expansion and getting his 4th up because although he does have Thors that are pretty tanky, you don't want to push to the siege tank line that strong quite yet. Just hold the contain here, make sure your opponent doesn't ever pull out and get a third and just effectively starve him out.
Wow, and Sound actually was totally on siege there for a second. Of course, Maru wouldn't have known that unless he had a godlike scan. But Sound's doing a nice job of slowly pushing back this tank line. Nice scan immediately from Maru as soon as he sees the Vikings start to fly out from Sound because he knows that his opponent's trying to move his tanks in position to start firing some damage upon him.
Well, you know what would be really good here? Moving into nuke pushes. We'll be able to push up that ramp, but those are kind of outdated. They don't do that too much more anymore. +2 is about to finish up for Sound, which means he'll be on even upgrades, but the reinforcements are getting here from Maru. He's sieging up pretty nicely. He would like to grab some kind of air control, but again, Sound's just been really on top at that point, keeping the Ravens out as well as the Vikings. So just keep an eye on Maru if he wants to move into engagement. This is really hard to move in at these 2 ramps. They're both pretty small, especially for mechanical units.
Right. Surprised that either player hasn't actually decided to move around and try and drop or anything along those lines, or try and break this in some fashion. Even Maru at this point could force a few units out of position and allow himself a little bit better opportunity to move back in and attack. And it looks like Sound is going to try and break this, but he has to move through a tiny little choke point, and as soon as he does, all the tanks are just going to fire directly on that position. In fact, they don't even have to. The tanks are in pump plunk mode off to the side.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to be GG. Maru takes his 3rd game in a row.
Cool last engagement there. You saw how Maru actually left a couple of them, as you mentioned, a little putt-putt. They were able to deal with the Vikings. They landed on top of the siege tanks. Just very nice awareness. And Maru, man, tearing it up here.
Yeah.
Actually in the Team Liquid forum, there was, I think it was 61% of people actually believed that Startale was going to win this pretty heavily.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And Maru's got something to say about that.
Yeah, even weakened as they are, Startale is a very good team, despite their recent players that have left. But Maru is showing that he's stronger than all. So next map is going to be Abyssal City. We have another TVT. It's going to be Startale Sparta coming in next. Let's run to a commercial break. We'll be right back after this.